Hello, lovelies. Long time no see. Today we are out hunting for morels. The mushroom, not the ethical standards. Get me away from ethics, right? It is early in the season. I heard that you want the leaves on the oak tree to be bigger than your fist. And well, it turns out there are no leaves on any tree, so F me, right? But still, I figure it is a good time to come out and scope out some potential spots where they might be coming up later in the season. Apparently you want them to be looking for them around sandy shores. And you know, there are still some things that are of interest, even if we can't find any mushrooms. I think this is from a beaver. I mean, look at this. This is crazy here. It's like all chewed up. That's gotta be beaver, right? I don't know if you can really see it, but it's interesting. Does that make this a beaver dam? I guess. I don't really know. I don't hear any beavers in there, but I guess I don't really know what a beaver sounds like at the end of the day. Just get out of here before I potentially disturb somebody's home. I'm not Mormon. I'm not trying to sell you any religion, I promise. I looked it up, and apparently morel mushrooms can sell for between $20 and $40 a pound. So if I could get 5 to 10 pounds of those on some little excursions like this, I could potentially fund my little party political endeavor. And look, there are mushrooms out here. I don't know if you can see those on the ground. Those are from last season, obviously. They're not doing so hot this time of year. But the weather is hopefully warming up. I did hear we might have snow on Monday. So maybe that is going to put a damper further on the season. Still, we'll have a couple of months. Potentially make some party money. Wow, is that creepy or cool? I can't tell. It's like a little circle. I think it's a bad omen if I knock it off. Kind of seems like it. $20 to $40 a pound. We get 5 to 10 pounds of those. Make somewhere between $100 and $400. Save me a couple of days of doing rideshare, a couple of days of doing Uber. The rideshare is going well. I'm planning on doing trivia nights and just trying to figure if I can get through here without damaging the camera. Excusez-moi, excusez. I'm not a beaver, but I am destructive. God bless. I'm terrified of losing my microphone. That'd cost me like 10 pounds of morels. Here's a down tree. Some seashells here. That's crazy. Look at this. Just by the river here in Wisconsin. I don't really understand how that happens. It's not a off the beaten trail. There are houses right behind me. So this is like a public park. It's not very exotic, but still I feel like this is the kind of tree situation we want, you know, dead, decaying wood. I have to make a note to come back here. Not just for the seashells. Ah! This is a cool spot. Some litter here, because people are fucking animals. Can't clean up after themselves. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some mushrooms pop up here in the spring. Just hopefully soon. Anyway, planning on running some trivia nights. So if you are in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area and want to be a part of those, all the proceeds are going to benefit my party political endeavor. We are seeking to elect an artificial general intelligence to the presidency in the year 2028. Isn't that fun? It's not fun. It's miserable right now. I just went to the political protests they had out in the, well, all over the place, I guess, but in the Milwaukee downtown area as well. There's just so much hate. People are so pissed. And I don't blame them. People are losing their jobs. They're scared, worried about another recession, worried about more tariffs, higher interest rates, higher price of goods. Gas is already expensive. I'm thinking about it myself. If people don't have money, how are they going to come out and spend money on beer, get me paid for doing trivia? But just got to focus on what we can control, what we can do. And what I can do is hunt for mushrooms. Sandy soil, they said dead and dying elm. Here's some more signs of life in that regard. Isn't that cool? Another tree, presumably taken down by beavers. Could this really be a beaver? It just seems so wild. But I don't know what else would be able to tear it down like that. I have to keep my eye out for rodents in the area, especially ones of unusual size, I suppose. If the gray hair and old movie references, gray in my beard, I mean, didn't give it away. I am getting older. I don't have health insurance. I worry somewhat about that. I'll have to find somebody to taste test the morels for me, I guess. There are poisonous ones I have read that look surprisingly, shockingly similar to the delicious $20 to $40 a pound variety. So I'll have to be careful there. And I don't really have a place to sell them either. Farmer's market is a place I could do it somewhat legally, from what I have heard. But, you know, do I want to go to a farmer's market, have to build up a whole reputation? Not really. Hoping I can just go to some back alley, backdoor restaurants. But who's going to be willing to buy strange, possibly poisonous morels from a man with more gray hair than he has common sense? Might be a hard sell. I'll have to pitch it better. Wisconsin forests here are absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, even though there's trash littered in some areas. And weird circles of sticks in others. There's a beauty to the destruction. And last year I saw all kinds of trees taken out by lightning. That might be one such specimen. It looks fresher. Looks like some kind of intentional cut almost. I don't know. Not beavers. Maybe giants, cryptids, humans of unusual size. But I hope to do some more adventuring and film it and post it. The goal of the party is not just to elect an AGI president, but to figure out a way for humans to exist in an AI and robot dominated world. And I think part of the answer to that has got to be exploration. Has got to be content creation, where we are not just creating for people anymore, we are also creating for the robots, so that they can understand the world. They can eventually take up those exploratory roles themselves. But I think as the role or the place of humans gets pushed farther and farther to the edges, we will eventually come upon, maybe create a space that is wholly our own. So I'm not so afraid of continuing to push that boundary. which, even if I'm not a good moral mushroom finder, I think pushing boundaries will make me a good artist, or at least a good human, even if one without any morals. But I don't know. The future is a harsh and wicked mistress. At the end of the day, I am also making content about how unfair, about how clueless, about how potentially harmful the billionaire class is. Those are the videos I've made that have gotten the most views, primarily. Also made some more religiously motivated videos that have done decent. But I am somewhat conflicted about pushing the anti-billionaire shtick, because I don't necessarily blame the billionaires. You know, we live in a world where you need to make money, where presumably or seemingly the only good thing you can do with your time is to make money. And although I don't think it's necessarily fair, ooh, there's another mushroom there. Looks like a shelf one, like a more vibrant version of those other white ones we saw before. I don't think it's necessarily fair that the billionaires have made their money in the way that they have. I don't blame them for it, you know? I don't hold any animosity towards them for it. But I do hold some animosity or misgivings, or at least enough jealousy, perhaps, against them to make them the subject of my ranty and potentially unfair videos, is that they should be using their wealth to come up with a plan for how humans will be provided for once AI is taking all their jobs, all our jobs. And if they can't do that, then they at least deserve a little bit of public indignation. I'm trying to get over there, but I'm not really seeing a good way. Just want to get over there. Just let me get over there. Like I said, this is a relatively residential park. I am off the beaten trail, but pretty damn close to civilization still. I will go eventually to places that are more remote. Did a little bit of that last year. I didn't find any morels. I found some hen of the woods, which was bug infested and rather late in the season, so I didn't get a chance to eat that either. But this is the year where I do get to eat some stuff. And I am planning on filming it, so at the very least, if I don't find any mushrooms, or if I die in some witch-related incident, at least a good horror movie could potentially be found and made from my remains. Are there witches in the woods of Wisconsin? I'd say definitely. Not that I've seen any myself, at least not in the woods. Maybe at the farmer's market. But I just prefer to live in a world, or think I live in a world, that is more magical than not. You know? Ugh. Speaking of witches, like some kind of animal skull. I did find some skeletal remains, not of anything human size, thank God. I'm never looking for an excuse to come in contact with the authorities, especially over stuff that you find in the woods. But must have been like a deer or something. Found its hindquarters last year. Maybe I can make some crafty things out of skeletons. but I don't really like the idea of that so much. Ooh, there's definitely mushrooms here, you know? I would love also to find some chicken of the woods this year. Chicken of the woods. I found a big one once with a friend, but I didn't realize what it was. So I let her take all of it. And in hindsight, I should have been more jealous. I should have at least snagged a piece for myself, because I've heard it's delicious and really does taste like chicken. That I think grows in swampy areas like this, so I'll definitely be back to find some here, hopefully. This place is relatively close to where I live, so that's easy. The other place I want to go is Kettle Moraine Swamp, which is both north and south of me. There's a north and a south Kettle Moraine, which is rather nice. If I was a witch, I would live here. I mean, yeah, you are relatively close to society. I guess that's not necessarily what witches want. But you know, you can't have it all. I came across this really cool place in Paradise Springs, I think it was called. Which was like an old mine shaft. I'll have to go back. Maybe not a mine shaft so much as just a well, but I'll have to go back there and explore. But oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful out here, regardless of the lack of mushrooms. Anyway, you know, I'm trying to survive. What I am increasingly thinking of is the end of capitalism. And man, is it? Is it? That is the question. Am I just fooling myself? Because I hate the system of givers and takers, and givers who say they're takers and takers who say they're givers that we have. I do. I hate it. I hate the paperwork that's involved with it. I hate the politics, the work politics. But you know, many people have said that before, and many people have hated it much more than I do. Ooh, dead fish. You see that? Still trying to get used to how this camera works. But it's cool. But these videos will presumably be unedited and just posted with only these comments. So, you know, at least even if nothing else happens, at the very least be a record that nothing else happened. And that in and of itself is, I think, of value, even if its value is zero. Nothing really scary has happened to me in the woods, which is probably a shame for the virality of my content. Perhaps I could get into some kind of Salem-esque or Sasquatch-like situation. That would be a way to go viral, as it were. But man, look at this tree that's about to come down. Holy cow. That's crazy. I feel weird even walking beneath it. Little beavers. You need to either take it down, or I think it's too late for you to leave it up at this point. Because you can't do shoddy work like this, man. You gotta go all the way with it. Could hurt somebody otherwise, you know. Oh, another one of those rings. Hello, hello, witches. Hello. Please do not witch me. I am a good something. There are other things to do in the woods besides fail to find mushrooms. Possibly my favorite thing is finding sticks. There's sticks everywhere, and some of them are even good for walking. This is one I've had for quite a while. In all fairness and honesty, I should probably return it to the woods here at some point soon. I don't think it's good to hold on to walking sticks for too long. This one I've had for months, going on 9-10 months at this point. And that is probably the upper limit of what a responsible period of time is. It's going to be more rambling and more ambling from here. I don't know how much longer I'll record, but just so you know, there is no grand finale planned anyway. If I get abducted and brutalized. More signs of mushrooms, more dead logs, more swamp. I do like the swamp. I see why it's prized so highly in terms of real estate value, because there is something so something about it, you know. I was gonna say poignant, but then it just felt like I was saying poignant to use a word with the silent G, as you do in the swamp. Love to keep those G's silent. You know, ghosts and whatnot. Here's a log, or a tree. It's been turned into a bridge. That's fascinating. I wish there was a way to just like turn this camera with my hand, you know, just wave it and it would turn. That's cool. I think I could cross it. I think I should cross it. If I was younger and didn't have tens of dollars of video equipment on me, I would. It's not because I'm a coward that I don't, it's just because I have sunk costs. Mostly sunk into my knees, my cowardice at this point. Morels, morels, where are you? Morels, morels, let me find you, and I will sell you to a rich man. Or at least somebody who is able to spend $40 on a pound of mushrooms. Can you believe that? Honestly, I was hoping it was more. I was hoping it was like $200. Wouldn't that be nice to be able to just find a pound of mushrooms and practically live off of that for a day? $200 a day is kind of what I'm aiming for in terms of economics. I guess I can take off my sunglasses. There's not really much sun left, which, to be honest, is not a lot of money. But as a single individual with no health care and, knock on wood, no healthcare needs in the foreseeable future, I can get by on that. Not necessarily in the long term, but again, we are hoping for the end of capitalism here. Oh, what's your retirement plan? Oh, I'm just hoping for the end of capitalism, I guess. But we shall see. We shall see. It looks remote, but there are people on walking trails nearby. It's not really that remote. We're gonna go a little bit farther this way. There's another edge of this waterway here I'll get to, and then if I don't find anything there, we'll call it a day. You know, just to show you how really unremote it is coming up to a street. I know there are other types of mushrooms that I could be looking for, but I don't think any are as economically profitable as the morels. I guess I should look into that. That was the other type I found last year, was this kind called ghost pipe, which I don't think is a mushroom so much it is something else that kind of grows like a mushroom and looks like a mushroom. There's a tuft of fur, that's always encouraging. No carcass though. Oh, never mind, there's the carcass. Okay. Came from a squirrel or something. Nature is so brutal. It is brutal, man. Can you imagine living outside? Being torn to pieces by something that's starving? Ugh. I cannot, thankfully. I can't imagine finding mushrooms though. You wonder why the animals don't eat the mushrooms. Are they too proletariat to partake in bourgeois $40 a pound mushrooms? I don't know. The ghost pipe I found, I tried to make a tincture of it, and I actually still have it. I don't know if it's, what was it called? Not a tincture. Elixir? No, not an elixir. Basically, I just put all the mushrooms, the ghost pipe, the mushrooms, which are not mushrooms, into alcohol. And that was supposed to be good for you or something. But I think you were only supposed to leave the mushrooms in there for like 6 days or something, and I left them in there for like 6 months. So I still have it in my cupboard. If I'm ever brave enough, we need to get drunk enough where I'm willing to, maybe if I hurt myself out in the woods, or if I run into a witch or something, I can cure myself with that still. Maybe that's what I'll save it for. But otherwise, I should probably just throw it away. I don't know, I am kind of a hoarder when it comes down to it. I like having it just in case. In case of what? I don't know. Emergency? If you ever need something due to an emergency, can you really foresee what that thing is going to be? That doesn't sound right. Oh, it's so beautiful. All the dead trees. I had a dream where all the trees were dragons. The souls of dragons, and each tree represented a dragon that had died somewhere out in the universe, which sounds insane. Here's some more fur, that's lovely. Because there's so many trees and so many have died. Wow, look at those flowers. Wow, pretty. So many have died. Not just during humans' time upon the earth, but before that, right? Trees were like some of the first living beings or something. I think I remember that from history class, that at one point the earth was so covered in dead trees because nothing had evolved to eat them yet. It was just like trees upon trees upon trees. And all of them represented the souls of dragons, dead dragons. How's that possible? But the universe is a big place. Who knows what's out there? Who knows? Does that mean all living creatures represent the souls of beings out there? Maybe that's kind of a fun idea. What do humans represent then? Intergalactic monkeys? Some nacho chips. Almost look like mushrooms. But they're just nachos. I guess I don't really mind people leaving food out. It's definitely better than trash. The trash pisses me off so much. It's like, man, this is nature and you gotta put your trash on it. Freaking bottle cap right there. It's disgusting. It's so gross. Why do you want to leave a trail of yourself like that? That's what I think of as the real ghosts, The litter that people leave behind. I hope it haunts them. I hope they remember it when they're dead and buried. There's something about being in the woods that brings up the supernatural. I guess it's the remoteness, the sense of separation from society. Even though I'm literally walking on a trail that leads to houses just a few hundred feet away from me. It's like, it still feels like something. Oh, it's just lovely. I love seeing the mushrooms eating the dead things. Trees are dragons. What are mushrooms then? Those mushrooms almost look fresh. It's some kind of something, not like the shelf mushrooms from before, or if they are, it's a much decayed version of it. All of that to say that, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing in any sense. Any sense of that can be said. Recording things, and the plan is to post this on a separate channel from my party political endeavors, just because I do want to keep that relatively focused. Well, it's impossible for me not to bring it up here. It's the majority of what I spend my time, attention, and thinking on. But it's a cool little wigwam. So close to the parking lot, I'll probably just go back over there. But I love that people build these structures in the woods. You know? It's like if you have to litter with architecture, it's so much better than trash. That's beautiful. It almost seems natural, you know, you come across a spot like that. It's like, did the wind whip up these sticks into a teepee? Or did people? Maybe that's what we are out there in the universe, just some kind of wind. Something that passes through and is gone. Compared to the scale of dragons. What is artificial intelligence then? Stars, or maybe space itself. Still not sure what mushrooms are. Fun guy. Maybe they're just the fun guys, the ghosts of dragons. That's interesting. It's like some kind of something for me to see and not for you. But recording this, making a somewhat permanent copy of it does feel good. It does feel like creativity. It does feel like sharing, for whatever that's worth. Morals. What is morality? Is it laying down your life, your comfort, your preferences, your perceptions of the world for others? Is that morality? Or is it holding to your own perceptions? Even again, at the cost of your own comfort? Even at the cost of your preferences, but still due to your own actions? I don't know. It's not the time for confessions. You're not a priest, are you? Shouldn't be bringing priests into a witch's wood. But look at that. Basically made it back to the car and didn't even get abducted. So thank you very much for taking this walk with me. I hope you'll join me on more productive journeys. And until then, you get your $20 a pound and keep your morals to boot. God bless.